Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, I have with me one of my coworkers here in Sweden that we worked together in postpartum. And she also trained to be a doula with me and is now also pregnant 2 weeks behind me, which is so wild. And Matilde, if you want to introduce yourself and who are you?
Yes, so my name is Matilde. I am a nurse working at the postnatal ward here in Malmö, Sweden, where I got to meet Alison. And as she said, I trained to become a doula with her. I haven't quite started with the business since I also became pregnant around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have a background in creative writing. I have a bachelor, and I have written a book for young adults.
Oh, we'll have to link your book in the show notes. It's so impressive to me that people do so many bachelors. I'm like, I don't even have one. I haven't even started one, and I'm really eager to start now. But like to have that already as a younger person, as like, I want to continue studying. I just never had that urge. And yeah, it's so impressive that you have 2 bachelors and you're about to start midwifery school. Like you're just wow.
Yeah, my husband, he's like starting to worry that I'm becoming a hoarder, like with the high school. Because it's like with the university courses, because it's like I'm like, well, it's for free, so I can just study and I'm curious.
It's so true, though. I'm starting 2 different courses this fall, just on maternity leave, own pace, things that are just interesting to me, just to help nursing school. So I think it's also like, why would we not take that advantage? It's like,
Yeah.
I think it's just brilliant. Well, today I have you on because you have one little girl since before, and you've been going through pregnancy, and you're just planning something different for this second little baby. So I would love to just hear how your journey to pregnancy with your first daughter started and how you and your partner got into the conversation that we want to have a baby.
Well, I think that like the journey between we want to have a baby and actually becoming pregnant was very, very short. Because I don't know, we both were like, I don't know why. I think it is because I read that it can take up to a year before you become pregnant. So I was like, that is the law. It's going to be like that.
Yeah.
and I actually told him that. I was like, we started discussing, and we were like on the same page, but we were also both finishing our degrees in university, and then we were planning on moving because we were living in Gothenburg. So there was a lot of things going on, and we were also planning on getting married that year. But I was like, but it's better to start trying before we just start like getting really stressed, because I didn't want to be like having a deadline or having like too high ambitions and hopes for like, we will get pregnant this month. I just wanted it to be quite laid back and calm, like, and so we had a conversation, and then like we tried once and I got pregnant.
It was meant to happen.
Yeah. And we were both like, this is a joke.
Yeah. I had the same thoughts. I was like, oh yeah, when we started trying, it's going to take a year, at least 6 months. Like I had just come back from the States. I wasn't like, oh, we're going to start trying seriously. And it was, the second try. It's like, oh, whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
So great. So grateful. Okay. So you got pregnant and all your plans just went up in the air. So then how did the planning go from there?
Yeah, we actually followed through all the planning. I don't know quite how, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was like in the last trimester or semester for school.
Oh,
So yeah, I just pushed through, and I think I graduated at around 12 weeks of pregnancy. And then we got married when I was at 18th week, I think, and it was super fun. I was actually feeling very good at that time because I had my like nausea had just stopped, and I had just gotten into the second trimester. So I partied until 4 o'clock in the morning and was like feeling super good. So that was nice. And I fitted into my wedding dress. So that was also a relief.
Oh my gosh. That's
And then we moved to Malmö. We bought a new apartment. I started a new job, and so did David. And it was quite embarrassing to like a week into my first job as a nurse, like go to the to my boss and tell her that, yeah, I'm pregnant.
Oh,
And like
wow.
to be like when we had the interview, I wasn't, just so you know.
Yeah. Well, how long did you end up working for in that job, in that role, before you took pregnancy leave?
I worked for yeah, because in Sweden we have the right to take pregnancy leave 2 months prior to giving to the due date, especially if you are doing having a physical job or like something that is could be dangerous for the pregnancy, and nursing is considered to be that. So I worked up until 2 months prior to my due date.
Mm, okay. Well, that's great. I mean, you still got that good experience right after
Yes,
school.
I did.
You had that also. I mean, just all these new things happening. I feel like, okay, cool. I'm not the only one that's crazy, that's doing a move and starting a school and having a baby. We're just doing it all. I've felt a little like, a little crazy, but no, it feels good that you did it all and you followed through your plans. And yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
How did the rest of your pregnancy go then? Like, how were you feeling? How were you preparing for the birth of your baby?
Well, as I told you, I am kind of a reader, and I like to study. So I like did that very seriously. And I just read through so many books. And I just like started watching. I wanted to like start watching documentaries or just like try to see birth, but I also found it quite difficult because many of the documentaries you can see are quite like hospitalized, or it was like this is how birth goes in Ireland, and it kind of doesn't match how it goes in Sweden. And it's kind of difficult when you are pregnant to try to like find the positive birth stories and yeah, kind of find them and feel that you don't get triggered by anything also. But I made that very conscious choice of not like reading too much up on like risks or reading negative stories. But then I also think it was quite difficult to completely protect myself from it, because as it always is, like there are co-workers, as soon as anybody sees that you're pregnant, the co-workers, they will tell you their birth stories. Or I went to the hairdresser and she was like cutting my hair, so I was quite tied to the chair, and she was like telling me, I don't know, all her clients' birth stories. And like this went so bad, and she told me this, and that was like so crazy, that story. And she was like, so it was it's so difficult to just like keep yourself safe from all the stories, I think. But I did my best. So, and I had a very good midwife that followed me through pregnancy. And we did also a hypnobirthing course here in Malmö with Mandy. And that's where I met her. And I think that was the most important preparation for me. And it also kind of changed and shaped the way I see pregnancy and birth today. So yeah, I kind of decided that I wanted an as unmedicated birth as possible. And I wanted I wanted to get to trust my body. I have been like always interested in meditation and yoga and stuff like that. So I found it quite easy to connect those pieces. So I was preparing a lot, for birth.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we hear so much about different courses you can take and different education. And I feel like in Sweden, it's just not a thing that people like go out and take a course that's not through the hospital because you have to pay for that. And so I remember being in the States and I was about to move to Sweden and I was like, I need to find the birth people. I need to find my birth people. And Nandy was one of the first ones where I was like, oh, wow, she's doing something different, you know? And I was, yes, she's a doula, she's a midwife, she's teaching hypnobirthing. I'm like, okay, I have to get in touch with her. Plus she's like working at the hospital that I'm going to start at. So it was, she's an incredible professional in Malmö, and I definitely recommend her to everyone because, especially like you're saying, we don't hear a lot of those positive birth stories, and we need to really educate ourselves outside of the system if we want to really have the birth that we want to have and not just go with the flow. So I love that you did her course. And so were you listening to hypnobirthing? How many weeks or months before the birth of your baby?
I was like very textbook. So it was like, I think they say like, you can start at 20 weeks. So I was like, okay, I will start at 20 weeks. It was like really like, this is my new like bachelor degree. I'm going to study exactly as they tell me to.
Oh.
And but my favorite part was to listen to Mary Mongan's rainbow relaxation, and I used to take a bath every evening with like lavender and essential oils and just close my eyes and listen to her relaxation track. And so that was like the best part of it, to just wind down, especially after work and so on. And it was so different because like the only birth preparation I was offered by like the clinic was to go to a huge lecture at like Lund, the hospital in Lund, and I don't know how many we were, but I think we were like 120 pregnant women with partners, like just sitting in a huge room and listening to like 2 or 3 midwives just lecturing about like, this is how you do birth, and like this is how it's going to look like in the hospital environment. Here we have some pictures like of a birthing room, and this is like the things you should bring. This is what we can offer you, and and this is going to look like at the postnatal care, and thank you and goodbye.
Oh my gosh. So not intimate at all.
No.
Not a lot of room for maybe questions and demonstration of positions and
no, and not anything. It was just like, of course we got a picture of like how it can look like. But no, nothing else. It was just like, we're going to tell you this. We have 1.5 hours and then you can go home. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. No. Okay. So now at that point, so you did, since Nandy was a doula and things, was that ever anything on your minds, or were you like, no, we have done our bachelor's in birth and we feel confident. It feels good going in without a doula and going with this system, and like, because planning for a hospital birth, just what was going through your mind in terms of any other support people, or how you and your partner were maybe preparing together?
We absolutely discussed having a doula. And then I think it was just at that time a price thing, because we had like spent so much money that year. And then like the savings I had, they equaled like what a doula costs. But I was like, I will need this like for my maternity leave, and I just wanted to have that buffered. And and I think that but we also had like this trust in the system that if we write a birth plan and we say we don't want this or we wish to have this, like they will listen, they will read this and they will be like, we completely respect your wishes. So we and like I think it was also because we had such a good midwife at the prenatals, and I trusted her, and she was like, yeah, of course, your thoughts matter and your wishes matter. So we were like trusting them so much. And but I decided to have my mom with me as well. And David, my husband, he has diabetes type 1, so I also wanted someone that could like be there if he needed to take care of his medication or go out and eat, so he didn't forget that, and so on. And yeah, I have a very close relationship to my mom. So, and I like admire her birth stories, and they were a very important inspiration for me, as well as her breastfeeding journey. So I think that's why I chose to have her with us.
Oh, I love that. I wish more people like felt that they had that close relationship with their mom and had their mom at their birth, because it really is having women in the room that have done this before. It's a different energy, and it definitely can bring things to your birth that you maybe didn't never expect. Okay, so how did everything start for you? How did birth start? Let's go there.
So, well, it started 2 days after due date. And I don't know, it was so crazy because I was like, either I'm going to give birth 2 weeks after due date, because like that's, yeah, I was like, research says that it's very common for a first time mom to give birth like 2 weeks after. So I just like put the date like 2 weeks after due date. So I was like, I'm not giving birth. But at the same time, I also had this thought about like, okay, no baby on due date, then there will be no baby at all. I will be pregnant until I am 50. And I told that to my husband, and he was like, you stupid. What's going on in your brain? And I was like, not much.
Gonna be pregnant forever.
Yes. And I was just like, I really believe that. I was like, this is a permanent state, and let's just embrace it.
Baby's just gonna stay in there.
Yeah. Yes, it's because it's so difficult to visualize something you've never been through. So you just think that no, that can never happen to me. So she was due 22nd of December, and we didn't, we didn't know the gender or anything. And on the 24th, we just celebrated Christmas as usual. But I felt like I had like an entire one Braxton Hicks for the entire evening. Like it felt like that because my stomach was just so tense, and I looked like so tired on the pictures. I'm just like sitting on the couch with the Diet Coke, like staring into the void. And then but the good thing is that like I got to eat a lot that evening because it was Christmas. And then I woke up the 25th at around 4 o'clock in the morning, and I felt like something is off. And I had a bowel movement that I also had read about is very usual. And then I just went back to bed, but I couldn't sleep. And then like 1 hour later, my water just broke, like Hollywood style, on the bed, of course.
Did you have a protector sheet on your bed?
And no, or we had like a protector mattress, so that was good.
That was good.
But I just yelled at David like, towels now.
Oh my gosh.
So I think like half the bag broke in the bed. Then I like ran to the bathroom with like a towel rolled up between my legs, and the rest of the water just broke in the bathroom. And
Oh, it's so much water. You never think, you're like, oh wow, it's still coming.
No, it's so crazy. And it's like it doesn't resemble anything. It wasn't like I didn't ever doubt like, am I peeing myself? Is this blood? I was just like, this is water. It's just like coming out. And yeah, so it was such a crazy feeling. And I got back to bed like with my pad and a lot of towels and everything. And we were like, what do we do now? And I was just like, let's make a phone call. And David was like, yeah, okay, let's make a phone call. And I just like picked up my phone and was about to call my mom. And he was like, no, not your mom, the hospital.
Because you weren't having contractions. I mean,
no.
Calling your mom would have been valid.
Yeah, I know. And it was like, it didn't cross my mind that the hospital would be interested in if I had like my waters broken or not. But I was like, yeah, okay, I can call them, but I'm feeling fine. So why would I call them? I'm not going in now. But I called them, and of course they asked like, what color does it have? Are you having any contractions? And I wasn't, and it was like the color was just clear, a little bit pink. And so they were like, just wait it out and we'll talk to you later today. And then like I hang up, and like maybe 10 minutes later the contraction started.
And then you call your mom.
Yeah, I called my mom. And she was like, I'm coming.
Oh. So were they intense right from the get-go? Were they pretty manageable? How were they feeling?
I felt them quite intense actually, and like doing the hypnobirthing, Nandi had been like quite strict. Like when you are in like the first phase of labor, just try to rest, get some rest, and try to relax. And it was Christmas, and I was like, let's just watch Love Actually, like something very that I know very well, and that's like very cozy. So we just put on Love Actually, and I think we watched 15 minutes of it, and I was like, I can't just lay down and watch this. I couldn't concentrate. And so I ended up in my Pilates ball, just like resting against bed. And the contractions, they started like getting quite intense, and they were actually like 3 minutes apart from the get-go, which was very crazy. And then we were like, is this going to go very quick then? And I was having a lot of back pain. I felt it only on my back. And then my mom arrived, and that was quite calming, I think, for David as well, because they could like start talking and he would like calm down a little bit. And I could just like, I don't know, I enjoyed like hearing them talk, but not like directly to me. So I could just be in my bubble, and they were just like a little podcast or something that felt like very calming. So that was nice to just like be in my bubble and just listen to them talking to each other. And then I had my dog like trying to comfort me. So she came like with a tennis ball, and she was like, I see that you are like in quite a bit of pain, so maybe we can just throw some ball that helps me when I'm sad.
Oxytocin.
Yeah, I was like, no, not now. But then that's the crazy thing, because when we started clocking the contractions with an app, and the app tells you like, now you should call the hospital, or you should go to the hospital. And I think I got that advice like 2 hours into having contractions. So we called the hospital, and they were like quite laid back and was like, how do you feel? What do you think? And it was like, I don't know. It's the first time I'm doing this. And I think what was the most difficult about like planning a hospital birth was that I felt that I needed to get to the place where I was going to give birth. I felt quite restless at home, because I knew that like I'm going to need to move. And I wasn't like feeling like I can't handle this or this is too difficult. It was more kind of that restlessness that like, I know that I'm not going to stay here. And also I was kind of worried about like, is this going to get more intense and then I'm going to move? Like, that's going to be so difficult. And it also was kind of difficult to make a decision, because the midwife that answered was like, yeah, we have a room now here for you if you want it. And I was like, can I decide in a couple of hours? And she was like, I can't reservate it for you, so I don't know if it will be there when you call later. And I was like, so then I started worrying about calling the hospital and that it would be fully booked, or what you would say, it would be like full, and that I would need to go to a different hospital. So that was another worry. So I started getting stressed about the logistical aspect. So after 5 hours, I think we went in around 11 o'clock that day. And yeah, my uncle, he came and like he drove us to the hospital, so that was quite nice. And he was like, he drove like he was an ambulance, and I was like, the baby's not coming now, you can calm down.
Oh.
But it was nice just to have like the family just collaborating and like, we're going to help you. And yeah, I got to the hospital and I was 3 centimeters open. And I was like, oh, damn it. But it was so strange because suddenly you start trusting an app that like knows nothing about you, just because how it clocks the contractions, and it decides that you need to go to the hospital, and then the hospital starts like stressing you. And then I was like starting to believe like, okay, this is it, I'm in labor, like active labor. And then I was just 3 centimeters open, and I got like a little bit disappointed, of course. And the midwife was like, well, you could go home and then come back later, especially if you want a physiological birth, it's better to be at home. But I still had this really strong feeling about like, I need to be where I am going to give birth. I'm not going to like move around back and forth. Yeah, it was like I couldn't take that, so I was just like, no, we will stay. But I think that was the first time I really felt that kind of I didn't feel that was like the right decision fully, because then she left and it was just me, my mom, and David at this hospital room with a bed and nothing else. And it was like I would have been left at a hotel or anything, and I was just like, so what am I supposed to do? And it was I just didn't want to lay in bed having contractions. I just had this urge to just move around, and it was a lot on my back, so I needed to like, I don't know, I wanted to get on my floor or against the Pilates ball or something. So I called the nurse assistant and I asked her, do you have like a yoga mat or something? Because I can't be in bed. And she was just like, what? But finally she arranged a kind of yoga mat, so that was nice. And then I was like, can I get a Pilates ball? And I got like this smallest Pilates ball ever. And it was like fully pumped, so it was so hard, so it was just like sitting on a big stone.
Yeah, the worst.
Yeah, and it was so small, so I was just like crunching on it.
Oh my god.
So I think that was very difficult to get in the mode of like, I don't know, handling the contractions. And like I couldn't quite get in my bubble, because I was just like asking for permission for everything I needed, and I was feeling quite uncomfortable in the room. My mom made it a little bit better, because she just like found a chair and she just sat down and started knitting, and she was like, yeah, you will handle that fine. But I kind of liked just seeing her knitting, like it was an everyday thing, and that was kind of calming me down a little bit, like she's not worried.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started to have like difficulty handling the contractions, because I couldn't move as I needed to. So I started getting a little bit scared and called again. I threw up, and then I called again, and they checked me, and I was 3 centimeters open still. And I started crying, and I was like, I'm so bad at this.
Oh.
And the midwife was like, oh, don't feel that way. Do you want morphine? Yeah, sure. And they was like, no, but I want to try without medication first. And then they offered me the bath.
Mm.
And I think that was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Mm.
So I went into the bath, and at first I had difficulty settling, and I was just still in this like stress mode. So I got a morphine shot, and then I just kind of suddenly found a way to relax, because it was just me and then what my husband, and he and my mom, they were like taking turns, so it was just one of them in the room. And I ended up being in the bath for about 4 hours, and that's where I found like my rhythm, because I just wanted them to like, I just wanted warm water from the top of my head to my legs, and that was like their task to do. And I just laid and I just changed from side to side a little bit, and had kind of something to drink every now and then, and listen to music. And that was like the best part, because then I just could fully enter my bubble and do my thing. And then after 4 hours, I felt like the contractions becoming more intense. So I called the midwife, and I asked if I could get one more morphine shot. And she was, because that was also the thing, like when I started getting a little bit worried, or so I didn't, I believed that they would like help me, like not only medically, but like giving me like advices on how to move, or how to think, or how to cope, like coping mechanisms. But they were just like, okay, either you cope with this on your own, or we can give you medication. And the difficulty about that bath that they had, it wasn't like a birthing tub, it wasn't like a big round thing, it was just more like a classical one. So the only movements I could do was like either lay on this side or just turn to the other side. And that started to get more and more difficult. So yeah, then she told me, like, in order to give you some more medication, we need to check how open you are, so you need to go to your room.
Were you going to keep the bath though? Were you going to be able to get back in the bath after if you wanted to, or they're like,
yeah, she said like you can go back to the bath if you want to later. The problem is that it was like quite a long way between my room and the bath. And like when you're having intense contractions, like walking can feel, I don't know, it felt like I walked for a year. So and then that's also like the uncomfortable thing about like you're laying in the bath with like perfectly warm water, and then you just stand up and like gravity hits you. Like it felt so much stronger and intense. And then because she was like, I will meet you at your room, goodbye.
Not like, let me help you, let's walk together.
See ya.
Oh my goodness.
I had to walk back to the room, and then I just like started screaming because it was so strong. And finally I got to the room, and then it was like, we also need to check with a CTG first. And then I had to lay on my back, and I just hated that because I was taking all the labor on my back, and I was just like, I don't want to. And then they checked, and they were like, oh, this is super good, you are 6 or 7 centimeters open, so you are now in active labor, congratulations. And I was like, okay, that's fine, but I don't want to be laying on my back. And then they were like, yes, you have to, 30 minutes. No. And I was like, but please. And it was just like, yes, you have to.
No.
And I started kind of like tensing up and trying to move away from the pain, and they were just like, you have to lie still. And that's when I started to like feeling quite controlled with this whole situation. And yeah, it started to get more and more difficult to handle the contractions. because I hadn't like any way to cope in the way I wanted to, or in the way I believed I needed to. And then, well, it was 30 minutes with the CTG, and then it took some time, and I was like trying to. I think I found a way, just like on standing on all my fours again on the bed, and my mom and David started doing rebozo with the hip squeeze, and that helped a lot. So I found a way to cope a little bit more. And they were like, "Do you want to go back to the bath?" And I was like, "No, that's too far away. Yeah, it's like too far. I can't handle." I just like, my mind couldn't like, I don't know, I couldn't like put together how I was going to be able to walk all that way again. So I was like, no, I'm just standing here on my fours and getting the hip squeeze.
Were you still feeling it all in your back?
Yeah.
It was still there. Okay.
Yeah, it was still there. So that's why I think also I like the hip squeeze, and just like, yeah, it helped a lot. And then I started to I tried to sit on the Pilates ball. I tried to some different positions, because I also got tired of like standing. And then there was another time when I was like getting quite scared again of the pain, and there was like people coming in and out of my room. I didn't quite know exactly who they were, because like I could see a midwife that I had never seen before standing there, and then just like walking out, and they're like different nurses, assistants, just like handling me something to drink, and then just walking out again. So I think that was like quite difficult as well. So finally I was just like, I need my rainbow relaxation. And I don't know why I thought that it would be a good idea to like wait with my tracks until like I would really need it. It was like I had this idea that if I use it too early, like it won't have effect later. And like in hindsight, I think I should have started with them much more earlier. But yeah, so I got my rainbow relaxation on, and I had written in my birth plan, like, if I am listening to a relaxation track, please just don't talk to me, and it will last for about 20 minutes, and just leave me alone. And then they started like, we need to check you. And David was like, could you please just let her listen to the track? It's 20 minutes long. And they didn't explain anything either. So they were just like, no, we need to check her. And he was like, please. And the incredible thing was that, like, as soon as I heard Marie Mongan's voice and the track, my body relaxed completely, and I didn't feel the contractions as strong. And it was like better than all the morphine. I was just like, I can handle this. I just relaxed because I had been practicing so much. But they were just so, but I like kind of tried to not listen to David and the midwife discuss. But then we got an ultimatum that we could listen for 5 minutes, and then she was going to check me again. So then I had to pause again, lay on my back, which was like the worst thing. And I got checked, and it was just like, 8 centimeters or something. Like, what am I going to do with that? And then I got to sit on the Pilates ball again. And then I started like having this kind of first pushing sensations. And then they were like, we need to check you again.
No. Oh my gosh.
And then I was just like starting to get like quite frustrated. And when you are having, since I had been having this contractions quite regularly from the start, I was quite tired, and I had been like nauseous for the entire time, so I hadn't quite eaten anything. I just like had juice or soft to drink. So I was getting quite tired as well. And that was the time one of the midwives, she started checking me, and I got like the gas to breathe because I was like, this is too much now. And she was like feeling, I think she said that she felt that she could push until I opened until 10 centimeters.
Mhm.
And I didn't fully understand what she meant. So I asked her, like, what does that mean? And she told me that means your birth will go quicker because you will open up until you're fully dilated. So in my mind, it was like, yeah, that sounds fine. And so I said yes. But then when she started pressuring, I felt like this is too much pain to handle. I can't. And at the same time as she was doing that, so I was like feeling kind of a local pain in my cervix. I started having a contraction, and the contraction was kind of a little bit pushing down. So it was like I started screaming at and telling her, like, just stop, please stop. And the thing is that I have experienced sexual abuse in my past, and I had written that in my birth plan quite clearly, that like if I say no, it's a no, you just stop whatever you're doing. And she didn't, so she just continued like dilating me manually, while I was screaming stop. And the thing is that like I have had PTSD, and then I have like been in therapy for it several times, and I felt before birth that I was in a good place and that I didn't have any PTSD symptoms that were following me or hunting me. Like, so I was just like in a good place. But the thing is, like, with all these vaginal exams and this specifically where I said no and started screaming and I was laying on my back, it was just like my PTSD just come back fully. It was like so horrible because it was like all my therapy just like went through the window, and I was just not giving birth anymore. So I dissociated, and I just I wasn't in the room anymore. And I think I just like went kind of limp. Like I started, I just know that I like my voice changed, and I just like was like nothing matters, and I forgot what I was doing, and I just lost control because I lost it.
You were just
And then
like surrendering to that process of just, okay, do what you're gonna
yeah,
do.
yeah,
Control it.
because I'm not here.
Oh, that is so hard, Matilda. Oh, just so sorry that happened to you, and also that it's not uncommon, and
No.
it's so traumatic. So how did the rest go? Like with pushing, like were you there? Like how was that feeling? Were you still able to feel like you were being productive, or you were really just like gone?
No, that's like when I just lost it completely, and like it feels like in hindsight, like do all the like the time leading up till that, I was all the time trying to take control and get back to my zone. But then it was like I got to that point, and I just like kind of gave it all up. And I read my journal afterwards, and they were just like they wrote, "She's screaming in panic." Um, and like my mom, she felt it like it was so different from her reaction in the beginning when she was like knitting and she was all calm. And at that point I just heard her like begging the midwives, like, you need to do something because she isn't fine. And there was like an old midwife that was like, the pain she's feeling right now, there's nothing you can do to ease it, because that's the pushing sensation, so we can't do anything, like she just has to get through that. And so I wasn't like receiving any care. It was just like on my own, and like with medication they didn't want to give me anything else. They could just give me gas, but the problem is that they didn't instruct me on how to take the gas. So I was just I was like screaming into the mask, and then I just took all my air with only gas because I was just holding it.
Mhm.
So I passed out with the gas between my pushing. So it was like such a horrible experience of like losing conscious, and then you're just like waking up to pushing sensations that are just pain because you don't know what you're doing anymore. And I couldn't like, I felt like the body was doing it, but I couldn't go with the body. And they were just like looking between my legs and like, but you're not pushing. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of like and I was like, yeah, they started to think that I was afraid of tearing, and I actually wasn't. It was just that I didn't know where I was and what I was doing, and I just had forgotten that I was giving birth to a baby and just passing. And they didn't quite notice that I was passing out and then just like coming back. And then luckily that, or yeah, it's luckily, but also unlucky that they had a shift at that time. So a new midwife came in. They started giving report between my legs, and the other midwife left. The positive thing I think was that this midwife came in with some new energy, and she was like, "Look at me. Okay, now we're going to do this." She started to give me clear instructions and like trying to help me cope and like pushing on my legs and giving me like acupressure. And I think that that actually helped me to come back into the room because she was talking to me, and yeah, she was like giving me like physical touch, but I think like the pressure helped me to kind of like come back a little bit more. And so I just laid on my side. I was holding on to David, and but it was so, and then I just heard them like talking a little bit, and I was just like, oh my god, they are discussing the vacuum extractor now, and I didn't want it. And then I was just like, I don't know, I think I just like looked at the clock, and I was just like, I'm so tired of this. I have been doing this for so long. So I just tossed the mask away, and I was just like, okay, I'm going to end this. However, I don't care if I tear or what happens, this is going to end. So I just like pushed her out in like 2 pushes when I just decided that like, this is enough.
Oh, wow.
And but I think that it really helped to change the midwife, and because she was there with me. And she also like when my daughter started crowning, she was like, you can reach down, you can feel her now. And that helped me also, that okay, this is a baby coming, like I am in the birthing room. So I think that she helped me to come back to where I was actually. And so yeah, I got to feel her crowning. And then I had written in my letter that I wanted to catch my daughter on my own, and she helped me to do that. And I'm so happy because then as soon as I got her on my chest and I like could hold her, I just felt happy, and I was in the room entirely, and I felt that I'm so happy that I got those like last 15 minutes of pushing to go back into the room so I could like welcome my daughter and be like there for her and just actually say like, welcome, and I'm here for you, and I love you, and you're beautiful, and just appreciate her. And like yeah, so it changed in the last minute.
Oh, there's so many mixed feelings with that, you know, because it's so powerful, like you just owning your power and coming back to yourself, but that it really depends on who's in the room and the energy and who you're going to get. And it's such a shame that it has to be that way, that it's like such different personalities, but it is the hospital, you know, you just can't control. But the way that you were like, okay, I hear them talking about the vacuum, like, though, no way. Like you just got that power back. And that, you know, sometimes it's like a blessing or a curse, right? Change of shift.
Yeah.
Case that was divine, that all worked out in your favor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
And yeah, because she actually, it felt that she actually like saw me for the first time. And that's because before I just felt like either like a bad behaving patient or just like another one in the crowd.
Exactly. That she saw you and that she was able to get you out of that trauma state and more into that moment. Either way, that's so intense and that's so scary and just intrusive. It's just such an intimate experience and so sacred. And I wish that we could all, like, everyone that works in this field, see that, like, for what it really is and how it changes a person forever, how you touch them, how you speak to them, how you involve them in things that are going on. Like, it's all going to stay with that person forever. Every that you say or do or how you touch and it's like, I wish that we could think more like, this person's going to remember me forever, and how do I want to remember their birth. But so glad that you got that switch of shift and that you were able to welcome your beautiful daughter and have those feelings, and that it wasn't traumatic all the way through.
No, exactly.
It was really hard. So yeah, thank you for sharing all of those just intimate parts of your birth story. I would love to hear just kind of, what did those first days, immediate postpartum, look like for you?
So we went to the postnatal care, and in Lund they have like one if you have given birth, or now it's the same in Malmö. It's two different wards. So you have the ward if there has been any complications, and there is another one that is more like a lighter care level if you just need help with like breastfeeding and so on. And I'm so happy that we got to go to the one that with the lighter care, because I just got like a second degree tear, and my daughter was healthy and fine. So I'm glad about that. So we got there, and I think we really needed those days to just like be in our little bubble, and it was kind of I don't know, I just have like warm feelings from those days, because it was just like between Christmas and New Year, so there was like so many cozy movies on TV. So I was just like breastfeeding and watching like all the Harry Potter movies, but on TV, like so old school. And having, baby blues, and like David found me like crying so much because like Dumbledore dies, and he's like, but you know that, babe, he dies, and I'm like, this is so horrible. And then the thing is that I did since I have done a breast surgery, reducing them, like I did at 2020. I was a little bit worried about how the breastfeeding was going to go, so I got some extra help with that there. And yeah, that's another journey, because it was quite difficult, and I wasn't producing milk physically because my breasts had been cut off and then put together again. So I had a very long breastfeeding journey that was difficult, but those first days were quite calming, I think, and I had a good care there. I had like this older midwife every night shift, and she was like there all the 3 night shifts, so it was kind of good to have the same midwife every night coming back and being like following up and calming us. And then trauma wise, I think it's as you said, it's a lot of mixed feelings. I was so happy for my daughter, and I felt very calm taking care of her, but then I felt like it's so crazy, because sometimes you have such low expectations, and I was like, I'm glad that everything went well physically. I just have a second degree tear, I didn't bleed too much, I can walk, and all those things, and like my husband is here, and we get to share the room, he doesn't need to leave. So I was happy with that, and I was happy with like the last midwife, and I was so thankful for my mom and my husband's support. So when we were being discharged, they always ask like, from 1 to 10, how much did you enjoy your birth?
Oh.
And it's so difficult because I was like, I don't want to give a bad degree or like a bad rating to my mom or David or my daughter. It's like, because I felt like if I'm giving like 2, I'm just giving bad rating to everybody. And I don't want to sound ungrateful. And I didn't want to give bad rating to the last midwife. So it was, I just said like 7.
Oh, hi.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it was high because, and it's so difficult. And then it took quite a few, like I think it took like 2 weeks until I started to like, but because I think it's also all the baby blues and so on, so you're just so confused with what you're feeling. And after the 2 weeks, I still felt a little bit low, and I talked to Nandi, and because I felt like something is off, so I asked her to if she wanted to hear my birth story, and she came home to us, and I told her, and I just started crying, and she just like, I don't know, listened and also like told me like that was not okay. And I think that's like a very typical thing to have when you have experienced abuse, that you just like make it okay in your head and make excuses for the other one. And I needed to hear it from someone else that like that was not okay, which was like part of the healing, but also made it worse in like that moment because yeah, she also like um told me that like yeah that was not okay and it actually shouldn't have happened. So yeah, that like reinforced that my birth hadn't been what I wanted. So I was quite emotional for a while afterwards, and I didn't like reach the diagnosis like of depression, but I started having a lot of throwbacks from my sexual abuse in the past, and that happened when I was 18. So it was like 10 years ago when I gave birth, and I hadn't like been thinking about it, but they started coming back, all the images. And so I had like a very rocky first year because I was happy, and then the images just that's what I hate about PTSD, that you can be like fine, but they just come back when you don't want them to. And I was like I got irritated quite easily with my husband, and very emotional, like about the breastfeeding thing. So I actually went to a psychologist and talked like for a few times, which helped. And then I think it just like helped talking about it and being honest about it with family and friends, and having a lot of family and friends around me. Um, yeah, and then it just thankfully started to fade away slowly.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for sharing that, because yeah, the PTSD and then with all the emotions and the breastfeeding, like it's not one thing. It's like a whole roller coaster, and every day
Yeah.
looks so different, and coping with that and finding your different coping mechanisms of every day, it might be a little bit different, but also getting to know this new little human, and like that's a lot to put on someone, that you that extra healing to do. And I'm just so proud of you that you conquered that, and that it's gotten less, and that you got the help that you needed and talked to someone, because that's truly, in the end, I mean, it takes a village, and it really shows your strength when you ask for help. It's definitely not a weakness, and it's just, yeah, it's incredible that you are just incredibly strong. And I mean, I felt that as soon as I met you too. There's something special about some humans that you kind of can connect to, like, oh, there's a lot of beauty there, and that you've gone through a lot. That, I mean, now if you were to say like, oh, with this new pregnancy, getting ready for a new pregnancy? Did you feel ready? And how has that been, just going through your second pregnancy now, with anything coming up for you or anything like that?
Yeah, I felt ready. It was it felt kind of biological. It was just like a bodily response. Like I just need to have a baby again.
That in itself can heal a trauma in a huge way. Just give,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think what was also kind of healing is, uh, the thing about turning pain to purpose, like starting to work at the postnatal ward and just reading about all these traumatic birth stories and meeting all of these women and helping them with complicated breastfeeding. I felt that I could meet them and do something with purpose, and that I could like use what I had been through to meet them and see them and help them. And yeah, I started to get more interested in like the physiological part of birth, and I think that just reading up about it, and also with the doula training, I think it did a lot of healing for me as well, and for my birth experience. And it just like yeah, because it felt that it wasn't my fault, it was the system's fault, and it gave me like, the fire to or just the will to really want to make a change, and to just not accept it, and that nobody should accept being treated that way, or yeah, having to fight for for your rights in an environment that should be safe and should be like guarding your rights.
Yeah. Oh, I love hearing that it helped in your healing, just becoming a doula and just doing different trainings, and also through the work every day, getting to heal. Like, oh, you're reading this journal that they might not make it sound traumatic, but knowing what you're like, there's trauma there, right?
Yeah.
Go spend an extra 10 minutes in that room because
Yeah,
you can relate to what she's been through.
exactly. Yeah. And exactly. And yeah, just listening to birth stories that are relatable. And of course, it makes me angry also to see a pattern. Like mine wasn't the worst one or the only one. It was just like a regular one. And that makes me so angry.
Yeah. I mean, it does. And that's why there's that fire in you to want to change. And you are impacting that change every single day and everything that you do. And it's very inspirational. And you are going to just continue to change that, being a midwife after this next baby and being able to go on that entire new journey. Like, you'll be able to change it in an even bigger way, and I love that you found this, just, I don't know, followed that passion into becoming a midwife and nurse, and just because it is very demanding job and it takes a certain type of strength to show up 100% all the time, but we need more incredible nurses and midwives working in with this very vulnerable population.
Yeah.
To reduce the trauma and create more positive experiences. So I'm just so grateful that you're working in this field, and everything. It's just, it's been an honor, truly, just getting to know you over this past year. It's learning so much from each other. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. It really is.
So how have you feel? So now you're pregnant with your second baby, and how are you feeling, and how are you preparing for this birth differently?
Well, I'm on such a revenge mode. Like,
Yes.
it's been like, I'm going to do this entirely on my own way. Like, this is going to be my birth. So, of course, it was like very obvious for me that I wanted to give birth at home. And well, I have, since we have become a little birth workers team. I have had the luxury to be able to like hand pick my team, which is such a privilege. And so yeah, I asked Nandi and also another midwife called Jasmine that I worked with, and also Jade, and she's going to be there as a doula, and I trained with her together for you. So it feels like so great to just, yeah, I just could pick my team and they are entirely on my side, and I have just like full access to them and to express my thoughts and feelings, and I have my husband entirely on my side. And yeah, my mom will be there just to look after my daughter whenever she feels that it starts to becoming too intense for her or so. And yeah, so it feels very different, and I am like very excited about it and looking forward to it. And I have just like, and I think it's also kind of a good incentive to keep yourself healthy during pregnancy. Like I need to go and do my workout because I want to be able to give birth at home. Like it's another incentive. Like I don't want to have any risks. So then I have been like taking care of myself in a different way, I think.
Oh, so
And
yeah. Oh, it is. I mean, we don't talk about it enough. Like if you want to stay low risk, like your diet matters, your exercise matters. All of this is helping those endorphins and helping those pain relief hormones work even better in your favor when you do give birth, so that you do experience them as less, and that you're challenging yourself and putting yourself in a like, oh, I really don't want to work out. But when you do that reward is so much bigger, and that you have, because every contraction is like a challenge and you have to meet it face on. And it's not just you have to do really hard things in your pregnancy too, to show yourself and build that confidence. So I'm so proud of you for really showing up, because it's not easy when nauseous and going through all the emotions and having a toddler and but that you really have been, I mean, I love that we've been able to text a lot, and just through pregnancy too, because it's just yes, just empowering each other and having that sister is very special.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I love to just be able to text and have that balance between like complaining, but also like boosting each other up, and giving each other advice. Yeah, and it's been a good challenge for me, I think, to really like force myself to balance between activity and rest. Because usually I am a very active person, like I want to engage myself in different things and meet a lot of people and do a lot of things, and I want to learn a lot of things. And now I have been like quite strict about like, if I'm doing this activity, I will need to rest later, or I need to have my nap in order to do this. Or if I'm going to take this long walk, I can't do this afterwards, just to like keep the balance. And listen to my body, and like tuning in, like with how are the contractions doing, how is my body responding.
Oh, so exciting. No, I'm so excited to hear, since we're both planning home births, just to hear how this all is going to go. And moved away from Malmö, that I'm still always here. And I just feel like, you have like the dream team in Malmö, like you couldn't ask for a better team. But I also feel like it's going to be so exciting to just go through that experience together in a way. And I'm just so excited for you to have your redemptive birth, and I can't have you on again to talk all about just how it goes, because, you know, we just don't know what's going to happen, but we
No.
plan and we can find our dream team and we can do the work and know that
Yeah.
in our control to make it the best redemptive story ever, and that it can still be positive. And yeah, I'm just so proud of how far you've come, and can't wait to reconnect once our little boys are here.
Exactly.
Oh, well, thank you,
Oh.
Matilda. Is there anything else that you would like to end on? Any end notes, any advice, anything at all before we close?
No, but I think it's good to, my advice is just to like be true to yourself during pregnancy if you have any trigger points or any like strong thoughts or wishes, and to just like really talk them through with your team and with your partner, in order to not get in a bad place when you are giving birth,
Mm-hmm.
to protect yourself. And I think it's better to talk about trauma during pregnancy than to completely look away and hide it, because it is possible that it will come back. So it's better to be honest about that, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, like, of course, balance that with just being really kind to yourself and doing all those nice things, like listening to relaxation and having baths and doing the affirmations. So
Mm-hmm.
you just also are cocooning yourself and can like resort to that during and also after birth,
Mm-hmm.
because it's important to not be too hard on yourself.
I love that. It's such important reminders about the triggers and being kind to ourselves, because we're doing the coolest thing on earth, but it's also the hardest thing, you know. So
Yes.
it is a miracle, each and every one of these little babies and pregnancies. So well, thank you so much again, Matilda, for your time. And I can't wait to have you on soon again. Good luck with
Thank you, and good luck to you too. Talk to you soon.
soon.